So, the final technique I will share with you as we discuss the 4 drivers of personal emotional connection is acknowledge. And this is a big one. There is something known as the communication chain. The communication chain works this way. If this were a live workshop and I was right there in the room with you, and let's say I walked up to someone right before the program started and I said, "Hey, Carrie, how are you?" And let's say Carrie doesn't respond to me. She says nothing at all. How is that likely to make me feel? I want you to respond to this. Type in the chat box how you think I might feel if I walked up to someone in the training and greeted them and got nothing in return. Embarrassed. The first response is embarrassed. Absolutely. Confused. Upset, says someone else. Angry. Hurt. Here's embarrassed again. You're absolutely right, each of you. If I believe Carrie heard me, but I see that she did not respond, my feelings will be negative. Her lack of response forces me into the right side of my brain where I am emotional. This is where we feel our emotion. Some people, depending on the personality, may become irrational at this point, and that is the right side of our brain. Had Carrie simply responded with, "I'm well," she didn't even have to have a conversation, but just a verbal response. Had she done that, I would not have had any negative thought. There would be no negative reaction. This is the communication chain. The communication chain says that when something is put out there verbally, we need it to be linked. We need the other person to respond. When they don't respond, they leave the chain unlinked or broken. When the chain is unlinked, the person goes into the right side of the brain where they are emotional, where they must draw their own conclusions. That's where you told me that I might feel embarrassed or upset or angry. When you are speaking to an angry customer, it is not wise for you to tiptoe around anger. Don't simply ignore the anger. Don't go into your line of questioning. Don't ask for their zip code or the date code on the product. That would be to leave the chain unlinked. Your customer, if you do that, may feel ignored or misunderstood. Very likely, their anger will escalate and they will be harder to deal with. What you must do is always acknowledge customers. If they are angry, acknowledge that anger. If they ask how you are doing, respond to them with "I'm well," or "How nice of you to ask. I'm great. How may I help you?" If they compliment you, the company, or the brand, you must respond to that. Now, I have a few phrases that you can use in situations where you want to acknowledge concern. And then this may even be the concern that the customer is upset. For example, I can understand how frustrating it is when I realize how complicated it is to blank. You get the idea? When they put something out there, if they're upset, we don't ignore it and go through whatever is on our screen. You have to respond to that, right? I cannot imagine how upsetting it is too. I know how confusing it must be when. Now, you can use these phrases verbatim, or better yet, you come up with phrases and responses that are a really good fit for your personality and the situation that you are dealing with. All right, we are going to wrap up this section with a little interaction. You know, I do that after every major section. I want you each right now to write down these 3 words. Write them on your handout. Leave a little space after each word. The words are start, stop, and continue. And I want you to write down one thing you will commit to start doing as a result of something you have learned in the 4 drivers of personal emotional connection. One thing you will commit to start doing. And when you're ready for it, do not rush by any means. Write down one thing you will stop doing as a result of something that you have learned in the last section. And finally, I'm sure that you heard something so far that you're already doing, or you're doing something very well and this triggered that thought process. Write down one thing that you will continue to do because it is working so very well for you.